more comment now we're getting from legal expert Ulrich Roux. Mr. Roux, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. I just want to start with one thing that was very important that I picked up today in Parliament, in that Parliamentary Committee of Correctional Services meeting that they're having with MPs, G4S, etc. Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services head Justice Cameron today saying that he still supports, the partnership, the public-private partnership when it comes to our prisons in South Africa, alluding to correctional services or government not being able to do it themselves. And I wonder if legally you agree, because of what we've seen with this particular case and what we saw during Busasa and some of the prisons that they were responsible for during the State Capture Commission of Inquiry.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Yes, certainly it was an interesting comment made by Justice Cameron. I think what he is implying is that, the private sector being involved in the running of prisons brings hopefully an additional aspect pertaining to management expertise, as well as additional funding in order to properly run these prisons. Of course, these companies and these private entities must be vetted properly, and they must be managed and maintained and controlled properly. And I think if those systems are in place, then certainly it could carry a benefit simply because of the fact that we do not have enough resources within the government departments to adequately do this. But I don't think one should regard his comment as a sweeping one. I think obviously it should be seen in the light of the fact that the additional expertise that can be brought to the table, so to speak, could be beneficial, but that the proper control measures and guidelines must still be maintained and must be in place. And of course, for an incident such as this to be avoided in future, it has sent shockwaves throughout our country, and certainly very concerning pertaining to the lack of controls and measures that were put in place at the Mangaung Correctional Facility.
All right, so let's come to the evidence. Is it, simple as it is when it comes to somebody like Thabo Bester? It's quite clear he didn't die. He escaped from prison, so he'll obviously have to serve more time than, the time that was given to him when he was convicted of rape and murder. Is it that obvious in terms of the evidence that they might have against Dr. Makutumana? Or is it a case of them having to turn some of the people they've been arresting into state witnesses?
Well, first things first is that Thabo Bester he has already been taken into custody, and he must now continue to serve the remainder of his sentence applicable to the convictions of murder and rape that he was convicted of in 2012. In addition to that, he's now going to face charges possibly consisting of murder, then obviously escaping from lawful custody, defeating the ends of justice, fraud, as well as the transgression of the immigration laws of South Africa. And that will take the form of a normal criminal charge that will be leveled, or charges that will be leveled against him, and a proper trial will ensue pertaining to those additional charges, where the National Prosecuting Authority will have to produce evidence and will have to prove these charges against him beyond a reasonable doubt. Certainly at this point in time, it does seem as if the case is a strong one against Bester, pertaining to his escape from custody as well as his defeating the ends of justice and transgressing the immigration laws and the committing of fraud. But one can never make a comment to say that it is an open and shut case. And that it's 100% certainty that it will be successful. One will have to wait and see what the investigation comes up with and what the quality of the evidence is at the disposal of the National Prosecuting Authority when the matter does indeed go to trial. But just for clarity, it will be a completely separate matter, one that he is currently serving a sentence of imprisonment for. Pertaining to the doctor who assisted him throughout all of this, she has also been arrested, and to my knowledge, she has appeared today in Bloemfontein on a first appearance, and that she's facing charges of transgression of the Human Tissues Act, pertaining to her involvement in the moving of corpses and the procuring of corpses in order to facilitate escape from prison, as well as possibly murder, pertaining to the reasons and the cause of the death of these corpses. And then, of course, defeating the ends of justice in assisting a convicted person to escape from prison, fraud, as well as the transgression of the immigration laws of South Africa. So, her matter will now run the normal course where she will be granted in time an opportunity to apply for bail. I think that the state will obviously oppose her release on bail, given her transgression of the immigration laws and also the abuse of her position as a doctor in assisting a convicted person in escaping from prison. And the same as with Thabo Bester, it is now the duty of the South African police services to conduct a thorough investigation and to present the National Prosecuting Authority with sufficient evidence, which they will decide upon when eventually prosecuting the matter.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Roux, for your time. I'd say the next person that they need to follow is that undertaker in Soweto, where that body that was taken from Bloemfontein. Thank you for your expertise. That was attorney Ulrich Roux.